together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Again, please. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Uh-oh. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, we got one more microphone. Go ahead, make my day. One more microphone, right? Okay. Like this. Okay, it's good. Okay. Let's see. Now we're all going to put our cell phones on vibrate or mute. Yeah. I guess. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So. With all these small children in the balcony, please jump off. Three times. Yeah. And chant Hare Krishna when you do it. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Wow. So, Kala Desha Patra. Who, when, where, what? Yeah, time. Who, no. Kala, when. Kala, Desha, where. Patra, paraphernalia. But before all that is Purusha, who. Okay. So right now, I am. Maybe the children can go into the video room. Close the door. Otherwise, it's okay. We'll just take them as. It's a sound of bubbling river behind us. Okay, yeah. So okay, I'm temporarily Hanumat Swami, and you're temporarily Gopinath Das. One place Prabhupada says that these names that we're getting at initiation and so on, they're part of our material activities, but they're part of our spiritual activities too. It's like in prison, you may meet somebody and you may decide, okay, we're going to help each other to correct our character and get out of the prison. So after you get out, you have, that's part of your eternal relationship. So whatever relationships we have here in Iskcon, everything else, they're eternal, right? But they're, a part of our eternal reality in the material world. Okay, some perspective. So we're today is 2022, or else you can say the position of the sun is 2022 July 1st, right? That's the position of the sun. And also it happens to be 7:34 post-meridian. And we are somewhere in Katy, right? Okay, it's close enough, yeah. And again, I'm Hanumat Swami. And I mentioned before, born on Guam, grew up in California, graduated in psychology, headed east. What we got going here? Okay. There we go. And got a black belt in Okinawan karate, which basically I learned about prana. And for some time we were working with the Second City as an understudy in Chicago. There were three major improvisational theaters, like in the 1970s. The Committee in Los Angeles, the Open Stage in New York, and what's the other one? The Second City in Chicago. And so what we're actually doing is actually Gandharva Veda, right? Veda means wisdom, self-realization, okay? So Vastu Veda means, self-realization through architecture, putting things in their right place. You can have Vastu for the nation. You see both England and Japan have this, this swallowing up the world Vastu. You can have Vastu for your city. You can where does the royalty go? Where does God go? Where do common people go? Even back to Mahenjo-daro, and what's the other one? Harappa. They see the same Vedic, perspectives there in terms of Vastu. And even looking at, Vastu, Feng Shui, which was the source of which, Okay. And so then Ayurveda, longevity, health, realizing the ultimate truth through Ayurveda. And then Danda Veda, because the king has the danda for correcting people. Okay, so through political science and all these things, the Vedas give opportunities for people to realize, who am I? What is life? What is happiness? All these things. But Gandharva Veda is the fairies. You know? And fairies are very expert at singing, dancing, and drama. And that's exactly what we're doing. I heard Prabhupada say, anybody who chants the Panchatattva mantra, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, and follows it with Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, has achieved the perfection of life. But if you want to preach, you should probably read my books. And so here we have such an opportunity. Right here we have one of Prabhupada's books. This is Sri Upadeshamrita. Okay, yeah. And behind us, very, very beautiful, nice little cascade, no? It's so beautiful here of the Bhagavatam and everything else. So we're doing a four-part seminar, and the basis of it is a little commentary that we edited towards explaining, amplifying Upadeshamrita. Upadeshamrita, the nectar of instruction, right? Yeah. But there's so much detail here, so much depth. So we started working on this actually quite some time ago here in Houston, recording a little bit about each verse, all of our ideas, and it came together as a very, very nice supplement. So all of us should do that. All of us should take the works of the previous acharyas and then adjust them to amplify them and spread them. How many people are there in Houston Metroplex? 100,000? A million? Yeah, okay. So what percentage do we form? Ridiculous, yeah. But, Prabhupada says, by the mercy of Lord Nityananda and the previous acharya, every disciple can do more than the previous acharya. You're always remembering why it's happening, why I'm doing these things. Yeah. A little bit more. Yeah. But that's and if we're not doing it, then it's our fault. We're not just becoming generous. We're not taking advantage of the resources we have. And so Yare Deki Tari Koho Krishna Upadesh Amar Agnai Guru Hoy Tari Desh. And I apologize to any Bengalis here. Yeah. So this is Lord Chaitanya is telling everybody, Amar Agnai. On my order, Guru Hoy. You become Guru. And how to do it? He says, whoever you come in contact with, your ordinary life, if you can expand that good, then you just give them instructions based upon Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. So then we're all Rupanugas. We're following Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swaparantikam. That's a verse that establishes Rupa Goswami as the Acharya after Lord Chaitanya. So Rupanugas, that's how we're understanding Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And of course this whole Gaudiya Vaishnavism, Chaitanya Vaishnavism, Bengali Vaishnavism is very respected, in different areas, India, Sanatana Goswami is a Sampradaya Acharya. So A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, so Prabhupada, came to the West on the order of his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, of course coming all the way back to Lord Chaitanya and Krishna. And then he started doing this. He started chanting Hare Krishna, right? In the beginning, that's what he would do. He would chant Hare Krishna. And afterwards, he'd cut up an apple, give everybody a little apple. And that was enough. People were experiencing ecstasy, happiness. So the essence of everything is hearing somebody else chanting, somebody more purified than I am. Of course, there's so many grabaciones, I say, recordings of Srila Prabhupada chanting now. So much opportunity. And Prabhupada says, first I chant and you listen. He said, then you chant and I listen. This is hearing and chanting. And it's a very, very intimate source of yoga. In all these theater traditions, improvisational theater, yes, you listen very carefully. Sound is the most subtle element. It's something like 240 times more fine than vision. So it's a very, very subtle way to hear what the person is communicating. Are they coming from their mind? Or are they not? Are they thinking about something altogether different? Person is leading the kirtan and thinking about something else. You can tell that. Is it coming from their heart? You can tell that. So this is the whole process, hearing and chanting. Prabhupada chants Panchatattva mantra, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, Divas, Hari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, and follows it with Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's it. You've achieved the perfection of life. You know. Sometimes we give classes at the university in comparative religion, and I start off with a little map of India and, you know, show them Bengal and stuff. And usually Upadeshamrita is very nice. And I say there's two S's in Sanskrit. One is more in the back, like Hri, Hri. Another one's like in Krishna, like Krishna, more forward. Then I say, please say this. And it's, you know, Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Thank you. Because their material lives are finished. One time in a neutral stage, you chant Shri Krishna Chaitanya. It's all over. It's okay. So now we'll give something more for the class here. But basically, we're a complete success. And everybody, they're simple people. Hare Krishna Chaitanya. Finished. Yeah. So then Prabhupada says you've achieved the perfection of life. But if you want to preach, he says, you should probably read my books. Yeah, because it's, you know, he also says chanting Hare Krishna is sufficient for liberated people. Yeah? But he says most of the people we're initiating are not liberated. Okay. Therefore, for them, deity worship is essential. Right? But also to them, literature and swadhyaya, studying, reading, approaching things from a more intellectual level or literature is also, you know, essential for us. And even if we become purified, yeah, then the books become a way for communicating to other people. But also they become meditation. You know, they go beyond just like academic study. They become like Krishna himself. And Lord Chaitanya always hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and hearing Prahlad Maharaj. Very simple things. Yeah. So that's what we've been working with Upadeshamrita. Last week we explained it was given by Lord Chaitanya himself, 11 verses. Then Rupa Goswami, wrote those down, presented them. Then our different acharyas coming down through Bhaktivinoda Thakur have very, very nice elucidations on the book. Very nice, yeah. And so we're trying to do our little effort for a long time. And we produced this volume again, Tabaparchipachi. There's a song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He says, Krishna, Krishna Boli, Dai Tabaparchipachi. I'm just running behind you like a dog chanting Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Yeah? Even a dog can chant Krishna. Yeah? So we did this. And last week we were giving this perspective on how it fits into all of Prabhupada's literature and everything else. You know? Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is a summary of everything from Rupa Goswami. It concludes the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-Gita, Upanishad, Chaitanya Charitamrita, one volume. But this then is an extract. You know, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, is a complete science of Bhakti Yoga. But then Upadeshamrita in 10 verses is a summary. Everything in 10 verses. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says, unless you carry these verses around your neck, you can't make any progress. So we happen to have these bags available for a small price from the gift store, which his wife runs. Okay. Yeah, so you can carry it around your neck. But also you see the Prabhupada cites it in the Bhagavatam and every other place. All the verses are there. It would be a very, very nice project to go through the Bhagavatam Chaitanya Charitamrita and pull out, all the verses that are being cited. Yeah. And then put because Prabhupada gives little explanations. So Upadeshamrita was already there. It's a whole history. I think I mentioned it. As I understand, one devotee, Hrishikeshananda, he was going out to some Gaudiya Maths and he found Upadeshamrita and Bhaktisiddhanta's commentary. And he asked Prabhupada, can you actually just make a commentary also? In Calcutta, Mayapur. And Prabhupada said, I'm so busy with Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam. He said, please, all right, come in the afternoon. I'll dictate it. You can write it down. And Mother Narayani, maybe Satsuru Mars can type it like that. So by their mercy, we have it all concentrated in one volume. Yeah. And so we have today, and then we'll go on next Sunday, back in Radha Madhava's Mandir, then one more Sunday. Then after that, we're going to fly, right? We're going to fly to Madrid and carry on there. Yeah. So any questions now about the kind of perspective of the book, how it fits into Prabhupada's books and everything?
I had some other questions.
Okay, please hold your enthusiasm. So today, what I was thinking is because now this is available. This is up on Amazon.com. You can probably just look up Tabaparchipachi, it'll come up. And how much? Not very much. How much it is? I think it's maybe $8 or something. For you, we make no profit. I think basically what we're doing is we're paying Amazon their fees and then collecting like $1 or $2 more and so on. But it's a good price. We photocopied them and it was $20 each to photocopy them, so $8 is a good price. Yeah. And also to what I've done here, you can also chop it, and then put a 3-hole punch or a spiral binding. But even as it is, Radhika's pointing out, it stays open quite nicely. It's very well done, And a devotee, Abhiram Thakur in Peru, did the typesetting. Radhika Raman and Srinath Krishnadas did a lot of editing on the whole thing. And so many people, so many different people we've come in contact with. Okay, so in the front we have a nice picture. All the art's original art. And here's Rupa Goswami under a tree, writing the Upadeshamrita. And Radharani's coming and bringing him lunch. So don't worry. And then up in the tree, there's one monkey waiting to take the manuscripts to the printer. And that's what we identify our role as being, we can all do something here. You can tie the manuscript around his neck and then, printer. So yeah, we haven't got to be very brilliant or anything. Okay, let's open it up here. Why not? Okay, yeah. Tabaparchipachi, afterwards, to the nectar of instruction of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Editor, Hanumat Swami, Anjanu Sudha Academy, and being published by NEOS, North American Institute for Oriental and Classical Studies, a 501c3 nonprofit, federally registered educational corporation in the state of Tennessee. Yeah, okay. So that's our external body. Then, of course, there's the information here. Someone said when you look at a book, you should look at everything. And this is publishers, copyrights, all this kind of stuff. Then the table of contents, okay? It's very interesting because if you look at the table of contents of Upadeshamrita and the text numbers, make a little graph and you can see how many pages there are for each verse and so on like that. It makes a very nice graph. Okay. So first off, we have a preface to the Tabaparchipachi. What do we find in a preface? For your PhD, for one banana. What do we find in a preface? There's a college girl. You haven't started college yet, though. Even by now. Okay, a preface of a book tells you what is the purpose of the book, right? It tells you under what circumstances it was written. It tells you what qualifications the teacher has. It tells you what qualifications are expected of the student. For example, somebody may write a book in 1955, someone writes a book on calculus for high school students, okay? And he said, my name is Bob Smith. I live in Middletown, Kansas, and we discovered there were no good books for calculus for high school students. So in the summer of 1953, myself and other professors and our students at middle high school, wrote this book. It's expected that the student will have already finished analytical geometry. Okay? Yeah? Okay, that's, now what's going on. Without that kind of stuff, who am I dealing with? What is this book? Who's it for? Yeah? That's the preface. So in our preface, hopefully, we can look at it. Abbreviations used. Then we go through text by text with comments. Very simple. And again, this is like Waves of Devotion, like Dhanadhar Swami. It's not designed as an independent book. The idea is you have Nectar of Instruction here and this book here, and you're going through looking at it with other people and helping you to study the whole thing. So then we have our comments on the preface, comments on text 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Then after that we have appendices. Okay. Now Upadeshamrita also has appendices. So we just try to follow Prabhupada's example. We have about the author. So there's a biography of Prabhupada in there. It's very nice. This is all available at vedabase.io, right? The biography is not, but everything else is. So you can cut and paste this, give links to people. It's very, very nice. So today, kind of looking at the appendices a little bit, because the biography of Prabhupada here, it's very nice. It's just, okay, here's a biography of Srila Prabhupada. Okay. And you can see it's 2.5 pages. Okay, yeah. Now, what we're aiming at here, because as a formal study, this is included in Bhakti Shastri, Isopanishad, Upadeshamrita, first part of Nectar of Devotion, and Bhagavad-Gita. And that's the Bhakti Shastri text. Bhakti Vaibhava texts, then we start to study. First six cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam and the previous books, so Prabhupada said. Because sometimes in Bhakti Shastri, people try and do it like you're never going to study the book ever again. Years ago, I saw a curriculum for Bhakti Shastri. It was bigger than the Bhagavad-Gita. It was every lecture. No. The first time through, you go through it like that. Then when you're studying for Bhakti Vaibhava, okay, then you go through the books again. You know, Bhakti Shastri is maybe your bachelor's degree. Then Bhakti Vaibhava, okay, now you're becoming master's degree, and you go and study and become more qualified. You know. Then Bhakti Vedanta, Prabhupada said the entire Srimad Bhagavatam and the previous books. So it's building. Maybe you'll finish off your Bhakti Vaibhava by the time you're 25 years old. Girls can finish by 16. This is an interesting reason. Yeah, but it's a whole lifelong progression. What's his name? Vrindavan Das Thakur, the Vedavyas for Lord Chaitanya. He said, my only desire is to study Srimad Bhagavatam life after life with Lord Nityananda as my teacher. Yeah, so we go on, again, different levels like that. And if you've been studying it for years, you know, you read it again, it's like, this like, now I know what Prabhupada's talking about. Prabhupada's quoting this. It just becomes more and more deep. You know. So Padeshamrita is there in Bhakti Shastri, but also our study is basically aimed at the level of Bhakti Vaibhava students, you know, and so on. And after that, of course, Bhakti Vedanta, but that's the way we're organizing it, everything else. So about the author, okay, if you're Bhakti Shastri, you should be able to know all the things in the biography here. Where was Prabhupada born? Calcutta, Tokyo, or Delhi? Okay, yeah. And his spiritual master is Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, or Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Yeah. I mean, but if I go through the thing here, it's pretty good. Yeah. Okay, that's what you should know. You should, if you're Bhakti, Bhakti Shastri, you should know Prabhupada's biography and that level. Don't waste it. It's in there. It's a nice biography. You know? Okay, then what about Bhakti Vaibhava? How much biography should you know for that? Huh? I would say you're ever a well-wisher. Okay, if you have your Bhakti Vaibhava diploma, you should have read You're ever a well-wisher. Bhakti Vedanta, the big one, right? Also, how many volumes is it? Huh? Yeah, 7 volumes. Like if you're Bhakti Vedanta, you should have read that. You should know. You know, when did Prabhupada get the title Bhakti Vedanta? Where was that? It was after his business in Allahabad had failed. He moved back to Calcutta, and the Gaudiya Math was next door to him, and that's when he got the title. You know, I can't remember exactly what it was. Yeah, but you go through, you know. How many people have read your Ever Well-Wisher here? Okay, few, not too many. Yeah, the one volume biography. Yeah, how many people who read it cried? No, you didn't cry. They go, big sannyasis in the audience. They go, yeah. It's just heartbreaking what Prabhupada went through, you know. And you read that, and then you feel, this is a heritage. You know, I'm getting something which is a real heritage here. And not just that, after that, Prabhupada's disciples, people organize, 20th anniversary of Iskcon in Peru, Bolivia. I've been participating maybe for like about 11 years, but it was so enlightening to hear people talking about what had gone on in 20 years in that community. And it was very, very, very powerful, very nice. So that's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to take a little pause here, maybe in our life, because we're coming to a point where we should consolidate everything in terms of movies, okay, and then put it in a package and then pass it on, But also other people too. It's a different time to stop and look and sort things out and go ahead like that and so on. Consolidate. Every morning we should do that. Okay, so what we're recommending then, about the author, if you're this level, you should have read, what's it? You're Ever Well-Wisher, okay. And next, Okay, then Prabhupada has a pronunciation guide, for the Sanskrit, like that and so on. So what we have is, by Radhika Raman Das, went through and explained the different meters. Basant Tilak, there's something like about four or five different meters in here. Garuda Das, who's one of the most foremost Sanskritologists in North America, he said you'll notice that the meters get longer and longer as they go on, more sophisticated. One is the playful tiger. One is, what is Vasant Tilak? He knows it. Give us an example. Huh? Yeah. Chintamani prakarasarma sokalpa vreka laksamiteshu surabhirabhipalayantam lakshmi sahasra satasambrama sevyamanam. That's Vasant Tilak. That means the ornament of spring. Very beautiful. And how do you say the playful tiger? Krita? Yeah, louder? Okay, Sarab Vikriti. And some of it, Upadeshamrita. Okay, so by Bhakti, by Baba, you should be able to know the meters for these things and pronounce them. They're very beautiful. They have a certain stimulation. And, okay, then after that, we have Sanskrit to English, right? Sanskrit to English, but it's Anvaya. Then Radhika Raman explains why the word order. For example, in Spanish we say La Casa Roja, right? But in English we say the red house. They put their adjectives after the noun. We put it before it. In German you would say, in Bremerhausen upstairs, a man to a woman about the last festival in the city. In the city, after paying money to the man to rent the room, was talking. It's like in German, you're where's the verb? Like that. It goes on 20 sentences, and finally, we're eating. It's like, yeah. So there's a word order in English, and it's all the Romance languages, French, Italian, English. They all use pretty much the same word order. But I understand Chinese and Japanese, they work more like a circle. They don't never just kind of moving in like that in a circle rather than a line. So Radhika gives a little explanation about why the word order is there. Then Sugopi Radha, she just graduated from Yale University at 17 years old with a PhD in Sanskrit. Okay? Yeah. And now she's been accepted into Oxford. She had a master's degree, her master's degree. She graduated from Boise. She just finished her master's degree. And both Oxford and the University of Austin have invited her to come and do a doctorate. And they were thinking, then you got a letter from the director of the program in Austin. I think it's a lady saying, Sugopi, please don't go to Oxford, come join us. And, we are religious people here. We're not like trying to tear all this stuff up. So, okay, they decided. So her and her mother are going to rent an efficiency apartment in Austin. And they were looking for a house near the Nilamadava Dam, Srinivas. And they found something 1.6 miles away, and they got it for $40,000 less than the asking price. Yeah. And other people were offering more than the asking price. But they wrote back and said, this is all we can afford. We want to be near our temple and everything else. There were 6 people who owned the property. One of them was a priest, and he convinced everybody else to give it to them. Okay, Nilamadava ki jai. So Srinivas is coming, and they're going to be here, because once you start the master's degree, you're having to be full-time, so new members of the community. And she is very nice, and we're recommending that she go ahead with the Sanskrit. She likes it, because there's so many very beautiful things in Sanskrit. For example, I think our friend Professor Samaresh Bandapajaya was explaining that one Raja sent his divan all around North India, maybe the 5th century, doing things, and he kept a very, very beautiful diary in Sanskrit. So somebody who speaks Sanskrit goes through and makes a historical novel out of that, He puts it down in nice dramatic terms and stuff, yeah. And then how many people are not going to read that? Here you're transported into the 5th century or something, Hare Krishna. I don't have any burfi. There's no free food. Okay, quick. This will be good for the movie. Yeah. So this is very, very nice occupation, right? Get a master's degree in Sanskrit and then start writing novels. You can teach everything else. So there's such nice opportunity within education. You can be born in Iskcon. You can grow up, whatever, go to Goswami Academy. Then you can go to Radhadesh and get your degree in as a teacher education. You can teach in the, the schools in England. You can get a pension and retire. So we've established Varna Ashram Dharma. You can go from the time you're born to the time you're dead and never leave Iskcon professionally. Prabhupada's the second desire, okay. And after you teach the teachers, and they teach the administrators and everybody else, they teach, so we're really making, it's very interesting now, making this plateau and looking at things. So how many new temples are opening? New Haven has a new temple. What, New Jersey? What is it? Is this, I need to find out. There's something like 7 new temples in here. It's on and on. And looking at them, they're very stable. They have a very, very stable base in terms of the people, their interests, their motivation, everything else like that. So Prabhupada's movement is moving into a new phase. But also there are dangers, there are challenges also. It'll become an institutionalized religion. It won't keep its missionary spirit. It'll be for our dharma, artha, kama, moksha. I chant Hare Krishna, I have nice clothes, nice friends, I'm clean, I live a long life, and I come back again. In the same Guru. This is why you got to take care of the Gurukula here, because who knows if you're not going to be in the Gurukula again in your next lifetime. Yeah? Yep. You doubt it? Okay, okay. Where do I sign up for the Gurukula? Yeah. Okay, so he explains why the word order is in a certain way. Then she goes through every single verse. Because if you read the word-by-word translation now, it's like not obvious what it's saying. But if you readjust the words, it's called anvaya, then it's obvious. You just say, okay, here's the word by word, here's the translation, word by word. And then you can start to say it with meaning, you can start to say it with feeling. Bhakti by bhava. What does bhakti by bhava mean? Mr. Sanskritist. What is bhava? Yeah, it means like, what do you say? Oh, we're going to raise it up here? Okay. This is like, okay. I think gone the wrong direction. There we go, okay. Now see if you can break it. Is he going to break it? No, don't break it. Please don't break it. It's okay. That's good enough. That's about all we can hope for. That's enough. Do we need to replace the gasket or what? No, it says we put it backwards. Yeah. It's what the problem is, that it's being tightened. Yeah.
They are built for people standing.
Yeah.
So the pole should be always like
Yeah. So we're using it for the wrong purpose. Yeah. It's close enough. Okay. There we go. Okay. So that's another thing we've added. In the appendices, now you can go through and start to chant the verses in Sanskrit and meditate upon them. Again, different people have different attraction. Prabhupada's books are Prabhupada's lotus feet. So some people like this, some people like that. There are many varieties of people. I have this academic nature, and so I like to organize things intellectually like this. And also I have sannyas nature, so this is like this, I satisfy everything. What else we got here? Okay. Verses quoted in Nectar of Instruction. Nectar of Instruction is a fantastic Vaishnava verse book because there's the original text, but after that in the purports, Prabhupada is quoting, and Bhaktisiddhanta is quoting, Bhaktivinoda is quoting different verses to illuminate this idea and also to substantiate it. If you follow those verses, right, you'll discover it's not just some verse, it's the verse, which the Acharya has used to amplify that point. And so if you go through then, Upadeshamrita, then looking at, because sometimes it says, Lord Chaitanya talked to Haridas Thakur and he said, well, we looked it up. It's in there, And so we have all the citations in Upadeshamrita, And so people, oh, Maharaj, you have such good graph of Prabhupada's books. I don't know that many verses. I know the verses that are used here, right? Yeah. And you understand how to use them, what they refer to, and so on. So it's a fantastic Vaishnava verse book. It's very good just to go through and challenge yourself and see, like, do I know this one? Do I know, well, I've heard that one. I should learn that one. And you can refresh it very easily. So we also have that in there, all the references and where they're coming from. And sometimes Prabhupada gives very obscure references, and Radhika Raman found them and these kind of things like that. Okay. We should also print It should be done as a separate little thing you can take around with you, just to refresh the verses. Prabhupada said he wanted to print the Bhagavad-Gita as it is, with a soft vinyl cover, you know. Yeah, it should be so close enough so you can lick it. Yeah. With a soft vinyl cover, so my disciples could go out on the streets like these Christian preachers, like that, so like that, and so on. You know. So yeah, with different utility and so on, but it's such a nice source for understanding logically. Kanista Adhikari, text number 5, text number 5, he worships God sometimes, right? Some lady may go into the church, Nilamadhava, and pray, "Oh Nilamadhava, please let me get the credit card bill before my husband sees it this month." or some student may go, "Oh Nilamadhava, I didn't study 1 hour this week, please let me pass the test." So Kanista Adhikari, and you forget to thank Nilamadhava. You promise to do all this stuff and never go back again. It's Kanista Adhikari. Sometimes out of innocence, sometimes out of this arrogance even. You know. Okay, Madhyama Adhikari is taking initiation from bona fide spiritual master, engaging in worshiping the deity. This is the case where you're making progress, right? The disease is under control, but it's still there. And in medicine, this is called what stage? Convalescent stage, right? You know it's still there, but it's under control, convalescence. Like our culture right now is in the convalescent stage for COVID. Okay, I don't know. So we should all be wearing our masks. Okay. Yeah, because it's over. No, it's not over. You got to be careful. You know, in the Madhyama Adhikari stage, you know that by intelligence I can remain pure. You know, but it's not spontaneous yet. One time, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj was giving an evening program in New York. Okay, many people there. He was presenting it, you know, and they asked for questions. And one Russian devotee said, "Maharaj," he said, "do you have any material desires?" Okay, would you ask Tamal Krishna Maharaj? And everybody in the audience was like, you know. So Maharaj looked at him, and being a Russian, he just smiled back. Look, I've been through Leningrad, you know, yeah, like that. Yeah. So Maharaj finally said, "I guess so," you know, like that. Okay. Then after maybe about 5 minutes more, he raised his hand again. He said, "What are your material desires?" These Russians have their own kind of character of doing things. Okay. So Maharaj looking at him, he said, "So I guess I want to be respected. I want my ideas to be respected. I want to be famous." He said, "But it's under control and it's diminishing." So he's identifying himself as a Madhyama Adhikari. Okay, that's all. Even if we aren't, that's what we do in a public situation like that. Uttama Adhikari has come to the point where she, he, or its knowledge is based upon Shastra. You know, many times Madhyama Adhikari cannot quote directly from Shastra. Shastra is alive, it's potent. He can't quote exactly, but he knows, yeah, I'll develop this, I'll find the answers, I'll hear these things right now, but I have faith in this process. You know, it says Bhagavad-Gita, basically chapter 2, when Arjuna says, "Sisyas teham, sadimam tam prapanam." I am your disciple, please instruct me, I'm surrendered unto you. That's it, okay, fight the battle. Is that what Krishna says? Okay, fight. No, because Arjuna has so many doubts, but they're legitimate doubts. They're legitimate doubts, yeah? So one after another he presents them, and usually he's being honest, and Krishna takes care of them. So in the end, he doesn't give him a super weapon, he gives him purified intelligence, you know? And that's all he needs. Now he knows why to fight, he's motivated everything else from a very deep level. So that's Uttama Adhikari. You come to the point where everything is based upon, you develop your logic and your knowledge of scriptures. And maybe the 4 nutshell verses of Bhagavad-Gita. You know, 10:8, 10:9, 10:10, 10:11. That's all you need, right? If you're simple. Somebody else, they have to develop, they have more intelligent. Therefore, they have to know more, know more things. Yeah? Yeah. So, Uttama Adhikari then has this knowledge of the scriptures and everything else. And Upadeshamrita is a nice sized thing. You know, other people know the entire Bhagavatam, and people can recite it entirely from memory. You know, and if they don't do that, they're going to do something else. Yeah, yeah. Idle mind is the devil's workshop. Ever hear that? Is it true? Yeah. Okay. About the author, Sanskrit meters in Upadeshamrita, Sanskrit to English, word order, verses quoted in Upadeshamrita, and diploma question bank. The Ministry of Education has a question bank for Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhava, and they allowed us to print it. Right? So you can know all 5,000 questions before you take the test, which will have 50 questions. Okay, it's like, for example, you don't have to go to law school. How many lawyers here? Any lawyers here? No lawyers? No lawyers? Ah. A couple was going to a wedding, and the bride and the groom, and they both had auto accidents. They both died. And they went to St. Peter at the pearly gates there. And they said, "Oh, St. Peter, we were going to be married on the way here. Is it possible to get married in heaven?" And Peter said, "Sit down, wait a second, Then after half an hour, he came back with a priest. And they said, "Well, we were talking, and this is kind of forever, and we're wondering, my gosh, what if it doesn't work out? Is it possible to get a divorce in heaven?" And St. Peter said, "Look, it took me 30 minutes to find a priest. How long do you think it's going to take me to find a lawyer in heaven?" So I guess maybe we're in heaven here. I don't know. Yeah. So you can get your law degree, become a lawyer. I mean, not a law degree. You can get your certificate, be a lawyer in California simply by passing the bar examination. I think it's the same in Texas too. You do not have to go to law school. But your chances of passing the bar examination without going to law school are worse than finding a lawyer in heaven. Yeah. So all the questions for the Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhava on Upadeshamrita are there. Here they are. Okay. Yeah. If you understand all of them and can answer them, you don't have to take a Bhakti Vaibhava course, Bhakti Shastri course. But it's much easier just to take the course and understand and answer them. So they're all here, and in the current stage like that. And it's nice. We went through. I helped develop that in the Bhakti Board of Examiners, and they're really trying to do a good job. It's very difficult. People criticize the questions and stuff. Well, you do it. It's very difficult. Which is more difficult, to take a good test or to write a good test? Yeah, it's very difficult. Yeah. So anyway, they're all here. All the questions are here, and it's nice. You can go through and see, oh, do I know this? And they're good. They're essay questions and things like that. And you can say, well, actually, yeah, I need to read this again. Okay. Then finally, ASA index. Okay, a way we use the thing. I try to find different verses, different things. So we have our own index. There's an index. Some of the indexes in Prabhupada's books were done by questionable people, like that, their character and stuff. And so we need our own index also. You should be able to find things in Prabhupada's books, different stories and stuff. Take your time. Build up your own index of things like that and stuff for your preaching. Then finally we have further reading, resources, and projects. For example, how old is Upadeshamrita? It has an inauguration day. You know how old it is? Okay, it says right here, Preface, which is about 1.5 pages. And this is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. If you have this book, go home tonight and try and forge Prabhupada's signature. It's very educational. It's this incredible amount of energy. It's very sophisticated. I tried it a couple of times. It's, a forger would realize, this man is not ordinary man. Yeah? Everybody by your profession, he would say, God, this is an ordinary guy. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. It was finished at September 20th, 1975. So how old is the Upadeshamrita? Huh? 47 years? Okay. So we have so this is September 20th, which is Vishvarup Mahotsava, Prabhupada's sannyas anniversary. He must have been quite conscious of this fact in Ramanarati. So on Vishvarup Mahotsava, we can have a birthday party for Usha Upadeshamrita. How many candles? And who's going to blow them out? Yeah. So we have a lot of things you can do. You can chop the back like this. You can get it bound like this. There's so many things you can do for developing this whole culture of studying it, distributing it, everything else like that, organizing classes, so on. And so we're going to circulate this and get maybe Mother Urmila has some ideas and commentaries and different people. Yeah, but we don't want to make this our book anyway. We want other people next edition will include different people's ideas and content. Maybe we can include like the whole history of it, because some people are investigating a little more of how it was produced and so on. And then the second edition, everything's like that. So it's kind of what we've done here. If anybody's interested, it's available. And also, too, it should be up in an ebook on a Kindle format pretty soon, like that. So, koi prashna hai? Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah. We want to turn or not? Okay. I'll just repeat your question. There we go. The whole world. This is going to be on Netflix 2 years from now. With 6. And the director of photography is probably going to try and tap your head with some powder there because you got a really shiny head. Hare Krishna. Yes.
One thing you said on Amazon, I already booked it. It's available. Currently, the book is available on Amazon.
Okay.
Book it. Right now, it comes in 3 days. Like Sunday, it will be there.
Okay, so in 3 days, it's there.
And
Okay.
that's not the question. So my question is,
Yeah.
the Gandharvas, did the Gandharvas also preach like Iskcon or Hare Krishna devotees?
Do the Gandharvas preach like Hare Krishna devotees? Okay, we're doing Gandharva Veda. I came to that realization because Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there's a very, very nice translation by Professor David Haberman from the University of Wisconsin. And he's so much contact with devotees, everything else. It almost seems like he didn't become an initiated devotee because, his career would have been, difficulties and so on. But he did a translation of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It was done by something Delhi, something like that. It's available also, maybe some of the books, about this big. And so that's nice. Bhanu Swami also has a translation. And with Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion, all three of them together, you can really, if it helps, nice to put all three. But what David Haberman has in this introduction, he has the political ambience, who was Bartabor and all these people and everything else and that time. And he also has the history of rasa, starting with Bharata Muni before Christ, and how he was working on drama. All the terms in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Vibhava, Anubhava, Satvika Bhava, Vivachari Bhava, these are all theater terms, like that, theater terms. And so they go from Bharata Muni, developing theater and how it works and what it's supposed to do and what you're supposed to be. And Aristotle is the guy who developed it in the West. For Aristotle, the essence of the drama was the plot. For Bharata Muni, the essence of the drama was the perspective, the bhava. After you come out of Bharata Muni's drama, you should be somebody different. It should have touched your heart. Some movies I know, they've done that to me. I'm just like, wow, it's changed my attitude towards life. Yeah. Okay, so that he comes down, then he shows how it comes down through was Emperor Bhoja? Emperor Bhoja, he's a famous guy, big guy, Anyway, he's king of kings, Emperor Bhoja. Then down to Rupa Goswami. And you see, that's what it is. It's training us to realize Krishna through drama, which is a part of Gandharva Veda. I said that to Jayaweta Maharaj, I mentioned, he was very strict, and he was here, and he said, yeah, it is, yeah. And so that's our yoga. It's a very nice yoga. It's singing, which is the Gandharvas, dancing, and drama. Yeah. And of course, the Upadeshamrita is a summary of everything. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is the complete science, and Vidagdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava are the demonstrations. Yeah, and when you're purified enough, Lalita Madhava and Vidagdha Madhava, they're so sophisticated. Rupa Goswami had maybe 6 different meanings to when you translate it. It's unbelievable, like that. ¿Cuántos estrellas hay en el cielo? No, son 50. Sin cuenta. If I translate this, I asked him, how many stars are there in the sky? And I said, there are 50. But the word for 50 is cincuenta, and the word without count is sin cuenta. So how do you translate? Because there's no meaning in English. So how do you translate these jokes, Sanskrit jokes written by Rupa Goswami, who's a Manjari into? It's like, you got to learn Sanskrit, fella. And even if you know Sanskrit, it's so. Rupa Goswami is using all of his talent and so on. So then we are realizing Gandharva Veda. Do the Gandharvas preach? That's your question, right? Yeah. How many people know who William Shakespeare is? Raise your right hand. Did he write Romeo and Juliet? Okay, okay. How many people know who Miguel Cervantes is? Raise your right hand. 1, 2. Shows you're all a bunch of, what would you call them? In California, you call them rednecks. Where I'm from in Tennessee, I call you all the hillbillies. You're all a bunch of hillbillies. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
This new generation, you have to ask for movies.
Yeah, movie. Okay, for movies. Okay, what's it called? What's it called? What was that movie? The Impossible Dream. It's like I start singing the song now. It takes Don Quixote, The Impossible Dream. It's a good song. So if you look on the internet for the 50 best books in the world, or the 100 best books in the world, different universities, different people do it every few years. They ask authors, publishers, and Miguel Cervantes' book Don Quixote always comes in the top 10. You know, and one of the most recent ones, because there's been a very good translation from Spanish, one of the most recent ones. They have, like, by alphabetical order. We're not going to tell you which books got the most votes, but here they are alphabetically. But we'll tell you that one book got 7 times more votes than the second book, and that was, Don Quixote by Miguel Cervantes. It is a very good book. It's very good, very funny and very educational. He died the same year as William Shakespeare, maybe even the same day. So people speculate, he and William Shakespeare were the same person, the 2 greatest authors in the history of the world. That's stupid. Spain, France. Then the person, apparently for a master's degree thesis, had a computer go through all their works, analyzing metaphor structures, and it came back higher than by chance. The way they were using metaphors was higher than by chance. So I would suggest the same Gandharva was playing with 2 squirrels, giving them, or 2 dogs, right? And giving them inspiration and these things to produce literature, which was the Gandharvas could produce, which they would, they were ready, they were qualified. Yeah. So we're being influenced, maybe by Gandharvas, maybe by Rakshasas. Yeah. Some people say that Rockefeller was a Rakshasa, and that's why they couldn't have an open funeral for his casket, because when he died, he reverted to his real form. So I don't know. Anyway, yes, I would say the Gandharvas, but it's like, are you preaching to dogs? Maybe some guy comes by, and he coming by regularly. I know one devotee every lunch, when squirrels started coming for Mahaprasadam, so he started giving him Mahaprasadam, the same day show up. Then after some time, the squirrel didn't show up. Then after a few weeks, she showed up with her babies. And they would coming, their mothers bringing them. And after that, all the babies immediately became, followers. Yeah. So how many generations of Gandharvas are going to preach to one family or take care of them? Yeah. Okay, so it's okay? Maybe what time is it here? Okay. We have theoretically 6 more minutes. And I hope that our volume is loud enough for the people there to hear us. Yeah. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 microphones going now. I'm sure anybody else have a question or a comment.
So Maharaj, I missed the title meaning Tabaparchipachi.
Okay. Ohe Vaishnava Thakur Doyar Zagar Irase Koruna Kori. How's it go? Krishna say Tomar, Krishna Dite Paro, Dai Tabaparchipachi. Yeah. You're so powerful that you can give Krishna to anybody you want to. I'm like a dog running behind you. Daya Tabaparchipachi. So these are afterwards, yeah. And everybody, even a dog, can take part and dance in ecstasy. Yeah. If Prabhupada told me, Hanuman Swami, you were the least advanced person in the room. Okay, I could accept it. Why did I take birth in America? Okay, yeah. But all of us have something to contribute that nobody else can contribute. And if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. So everybody find out. Become self-realized, build your character, and preach. Yeah. Okay. So now at this point, our online audience, here we have Govinda Pramodini. Remember her? She's online. She was in the Gurukula here. Karuna Shakti, Haribol, Catherine, Lalita Gopi Devi Dasi, She's a professor of jazz, sociology. So many nice devotees here. Tushkar Gaiwadika, Chitragopi Mendoza, Mitra Vinda, Kama Gayatri Dasi. So anybody in the audience? Oh, Subal Saka. Anybody in the audience have any questions? I'll unmute you here.
Hare Krishna Gurudeva, please accept my humble obeisances. To share.
Let me introduce you here. Subal Saka is a software architect. When he's working, he makes, how much do you make when you're working? Ask me no secrets, I'll tell you no lies. Okay, yeah. How many hours a week can you actually do that? Yeah. It's hard, no? He migrates 20 million accounts for Capital One. So now he has a logical question, I'm sure.
Not much, Gurudeva. Especially the way you explained about Madhyamadhikari and the level of their like intelligence, for example. With intelligence, they control the things. So the transition from a Madhyamadhikari to Uttamadhikari, and at times Uttamadhikari again assuming the role of Madhyamadhikari to teach the disciples or something. It's a bit, which role he is playing, when he is playing. Sometimes it is difficult to understand. Like, I was just, while you are teaching all of this one, my head, thinking all these things like, okay, where is the line? When do I understand? Kind of. So I was just, maybe I'm thinking too intellectual or too much into it. I don't know, brother. I just wants to.
Yeah. Basically, we can divide the levels into 3 levels: Kanistadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Uttamadhikari. But a verse, the answer is in Upadeshamrita and Tabaparchipachi. Whatever I'm saying now is I put down there. For me, oh God, I said everything I want to say. Looking at it, understand, Kanistadhikari means Adoshrada, Sadhasanga, and then Bhajana Kriya is where you take initiation. It becomes formally, take up the work formally, everything else. Okay, Harinam Diksha, and especially, second initiation. Okay, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishta, Ruchi, Raganuga Bhakti, Nishta Ruchi, Asaktis, Bhava. So Bhava, level of Bhava is where you're becoming Uttamadhikari. You know your relationship with Krishna. I plant the seed, it grows, twigs, branches, sapling, leaves, flowers. Oh, it's an apple. yeah. So that's when level of Bhava, you know your relationship with Krishna, but it's not fully awake. And so there's no longer a question of rules and regulations, just getting association of Krishna and becoming fully stimulated like that. Yeah. And, okay. So what I was thinking, that next week, if you want to buy the book and read our commentary on text number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Krishneti Yasya Giritam Manasadayet Dikshasti Chet Pranatabish Chabachintamisham. They're candidates for bhakti. They are actually, no, they are bhakti by Bhavans. I have their diplomas. We're going to give it soon. Yeah. Dikshasti Chepanatabish Chabachintamisham Shorshrushraya Bhajana Vignamananyanyanim Dadi Sunyahridim Sita Sangaladya. Text number 5. And he very clearly defines Kanistadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Uttamadhikari. In the Bhaktivedanta purports and Bhaktisiddhanta's commentary, it explains it. I mean, it's so thorough. If you understand that about the different levels of devotees, you're more advanced than 95% of the people in Iskcon in terms of understanding who am I, who are they, what's going on like that, and so on. So the next week maybe we can look at that one text. I've seen that's very, very important for this kind of group to understand. That's where we're at, And maybe the last one we can then look at maybe text number 8, 7, and 8, which then describes the levels of Adoshrada like that and so on. So I guess it's kind of at this point. Okay, so we want to thank everybody in all of our 10 million different audiences, top, back, left, and right. And now, Sarira Avidjajal, Ditindriyata Haikol, Jive Pele Visaya Sagare, Tarmaje Jivayati Lobamoy Sadurmati Take Jeta Kotina Sangsare Krishna Bodhodoyamoy Karibare Chayvajai Swaprasad Anat Delobai Sayanamrita Kao Radha Krishna Gunagao Parimedako Chaitanya Nitai. This is text number page 10. O Lord, this material body is a lump of ignorance, and the senses are a network of paths leading to death. Somehow or other, we have fallen into the ocean of material sense enjoyment. And of all the senses, the blank is the most voracious and uncontrollable. Tongue. It is very difficult to conquer the tongue in this world. But you, dear Krishna, are very kind to us. You have sent this nice prasadam. Is it prasad? Okay. To help us conquer the tongue. Therefore, let us take this prasad to our full satisfaction and glorify your lordship, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, and in love call for the help of Lord Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityananda. Jai. So Prabhupada ki jai. Mahaprasadam ki jai. Thank you all very much.